We might have just witnessed the worst World Cup final in our lifetime. And I don't just say that because I'm Argentinian. Like, obviously, if you're Spanish, you're probably having a great time partying, celebrating. It's all good. But genuinely, it was just a terrible game all the way around. And obviously, I'll be giving my takes and I'll be discussing that further in this episode. I'll be talking about every kind of thing that you could think of when it comes to everything surrounding the World Cup. And of course, I'll also give my overall World Cup review and just rating in general, and I'll talk about the final, obviously. All that happened in that just pretty bad final. And I honestly can't really explain it. Obviously, I'm Argentinian, so I'll give like the Argentinian perspective first before moving on to all the other potential narratives. I don't know what we were doing. I have no idea. I know that Spain are a good team, but I really think that Scaloni just got scared. Like, he just got scared. Because you're never going to win any game of football. If your first shot is not till the 118th minute of a match, you're not going to win any game of football, let alone the World Cup final. Like, did we know that we were playing a World Cup final? Like, I genuinely want to know that. You went 90 minutes without having a shot, and then you had to go and play the same game plan with 10 men. It was never going to happen. It really wasn't. So maybe we would have lost to Spain either way because they're a good team. And the way we've been playing in the tournament has not been convincing. But this was just another level of bad. And it was just, again, we had the ball and we were always just playing in the back. Like, we were never actually trying to go forward ever. So I really see it as a tactical thing. I don't see it most, like, a couple of things were because of the individual players, but it was a tactical thing that we were just trying to keep the ball away from Spain, but in our own end, rather than actually trying to create some opportunities for ourselves. We were literally just playing to get this game to pens. And that's embarrassing. Like, we have the quality to be doing way more than that. And I think truly the coach just got scared. And I don't know, like, that's really the only thing I can think of. Like, if we lost to Spain, but we tried, we gave it our all, and they just are a better team, that's fine. At least you can lose with some dignity. But there was no dignity in any of that. In that game at all was just terrible, right? The game plan was just to make it aggressive, to be aggressive, to just kind of stifle them, stop them, and just sit back. And when we had the ball, you just played in your own end. But we gave Spain too much of the ball, and that's where they're good. Like, that's where they thrive, is with the ball at their feet and keeping the ball. We I don't know what we set up to do, really. We started Nico Gonzalez off the left, and very quickly we took him off. And we, like, very quickly they realized, oh, this is, like, not really good. But, like, we didn't have any ambition. We just sat back the whole game. And then, of course, we were going to lose. Of course, you cannot win a game like that. So I was like, yeah, do we even know that we're in the World Cup final? Really, the only way I can describe it is just odd. Like, it was very weird. We have such a good team, but pretty much the whole tournament we wait till we concede or we're in a bad position, and then we finally start to turn it on. But I think this game was a little bit different. Like, the England game, it was pretty back and forth until England scored, and then we really just piled it on. But in this game, we literally just rolled over and died. We literally just let Spain have it, essentially. I don't know what it was. Like did the coach really only think, did Scaloni really think the only way you can beat this team is by bringing it to pens? Like, is that really the truth of the matter? And I think it's just the fact that he got scared, and that's why our tactics were so bad. And it was kind of because of us that the final was so boring. That's the truth. Spain did all they could. They played the way they've been playing the whole tournament, and I don't think it was just because they were so much better that we had such a bad time. I think it truly was just a terrible mindset going into the game. We would have opportunities to bring the ball forward a little bit, but then we would just turn around and go back. We'd play back around the goalie. We would almost lose the ball a bunch of times, and then we would just play lazy clearances up the field. And whenever we would be in a decent position, we would just kind of turn back and go around. And before you know it, you're like, even if you're in their end for like a couple of minutes, you then all of a sudden you just slowly get pushed back. And I don't think that's because of them, because even after they scored, we saw, despite being a man down for those last 5 minutes, we saw, yes, these guys are capable of creating chances, of making it happen. You give the ball to Messi, he makes it happen. Even if you're a man down, and even if Spain were still trying to push us back and force us back, it was truly because we were scared. for the whole 90 minutes before we went a man down. When we went a man down, it was pretty much over. Like, we were never going to survive extra time being a man down against the Spain team because they are very good. But for me, I like honestly think it was disgusting. It was disgusting, disgraceful tactical game plan from the start, and that's the reason why we lost this game. Is because we were scared, we were conservative, we were defensive, and that's never a game plan that's ever going to work, let alone in a World Cup final. And it was sad to see my team just kind of roll over and die like that. And it was even more sad to see that after we conceded, we locked in. It's literally that's been the case for the whole tournament. But being a man down against a team as good as Spain, it was never going to work out. At the end of the day, we created a couple of half chances, but nothing really clear cut. We had a good position where we played the ball in the box, but a Spain player intercepted it, went out for a corner. We took the corner, Simeone, that was the chance, the Simeone chance at the end of the game, but that's a hard shot to score. And that was like your only real big moment in the whole game, and it took till the end of the game to have it. What were we doing when we had 11 men on the pitch? That's my question. And the answer to that question, it was a whole lot of nothing. And I think it was just purely a tactical game plan. It was really odd and really strange that that was the way we decided to play Spain. And I don't think it was ever going to work. Like, my score prediction for that game was actually probably the worst score prediction I ever made in any predictions video about this World Cup. Because I predicted us to win 3-2. I predicted that we would go and attack Spain. We would go and give it our all. I would have never predicted that we would just sit back and make it the most boring, just kind of disgraceful game that we could have made it from an Argentinian perspective. And again, we were just trying to be aggressive, rough it up a little bit, just slow the tempo of the game, stop the game as much as we can. And, like, I don't know why. I have no idea why that was the idea. I don't know why that was the game plan. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Because that was my prediction. My prediction is that we would go for it. In the final 2022, we went for it. We didn't just crumble into our own shell because of France. Like, we weren't scared of them. We went for it, and we won the game. It was 3-3 draw. We won on penalties. But it was a very even matchup. Obviously, Martinez had to make that save at the end of the game. But truly, I think Scaloni just had like his Pep Guardiola moment where he just kind of overthought the situation and he made decisions. Of course, substitutions. I'll talk about the substitutions, how bad they were. He made decisions and substitutions that were very conservative and very just not ambitious at all, and just feeding into exactly what Spain want. You could see the difference in ambition, where Spain, they bring on Ferran Torres, who scores the goal. Nico Williams, who changes the game. Mikel Merino. Players that will change the game and make it happen, whereas we're bringing on Molina. We're bringing on Senesi. We're bringing on, who else did we bring on? We brought on Paredes. Obviously, that's a whole other talking point. I'll get into that. Don't worry. I'll be getting into that as well. Those are players we're bringing on. And it's like, what? Like, what about players that can actually impact the game in a meaningful way? And, like, we saw what England did against us, and we just took it to a new extreme. Like, I don't know what we were thinking. I really don't. From the start, it was never going to work. So that was the case with the game. And that's why the game was so boring, because it was our fault. So I predicted that we would win 3-2 after extra time. I actually successfully predicted that the game would go to extra time, but nowhere near the type of circumstance that I thought. I thought it would be an entertaining 2-2 game. Both teams go for it. We make it happen. Maybe another like fun comeback story. And then we finally get that goal in extra time. It doesn't go to pen. For me, like, I had the kind of foundations right that, yes, like, I think it going extra time makes sense. It's even teams. But I don't think going to pens back-to-back finals is something that's very likely. I had the right idea, but I was nowhere near when it came to the score prediction. I predicted Argentina to win 3-2 and ended up being 1-0 to Spain. But the way the game went, just complete. Like, I don't think anyone could have predicted that this was the way we were going to attack. And I think it is just all tactical. Because, again, final 5 minutes, you can go out there and you can attack. Where was that? Like, where was that for 90 minutes when we had 11 men on the field? It's sad. So it's sad that Messi's legacy is going to end in defeat. But when you're playing like that, it's not Messi's fault. It's not the individual player's fault. I mean, there's some players that you can put the blame on for sure. But for the most part, it's a tactical thing. And it's just like, well, why was that the case, right? So it's unfortunate that the legacy kind of is just a little bit bitter now, but at the end of the day, Messi has his World Cup. This was just a bonus. Like, we should definitely appreciate the fact that he's 39 years old and he is still running the tournament as much as he was. You have to appreciate that, as much as there was all sorts of things and false narratives, and obviously I'll get into that, but just appreciate him. And if he's at World Cup 2030 at 43 years old, that'd be ridiculous. Like, the Messi and Ronaldo era is truly done. It's truly over. I mean, it has to be. Ronaldo definitely looked out of it. But Messi was still running the games. But even still, he's 39. Like, it's not going to, like, I don't think it's going to happen, right? So you have to appreciate that we've had these guys for so long, and we were able to see them one last time. And obviously, Messi, mesmerizing. We had so many amazing moments. But now it's done. And unfortunately, it's not the perfect happy ending, but I think it was deserved. Spain deserved to win 100% of the time, especially when you play game plan tactics like that. Spain had 25 shots, 11 on target. Emiliano Martinez did his absolute best to keep us in this. But at the end of the day, it was one kind of hurdle too many. Especially, again, in a game plan like that, you're never going to win. And being a man down, especially, you're never going to win. So fair credit to Spain. They just went and they did exactly what they've been doing all tournament, and it worked for them, and they won. Deservingly. Obviously, Yamal didn't do much, but they actually just have a solid core of players that can get stuff done. And they're professional with the way they go about their business. And I give praise to them, right? But more so, it's more harsh criticism on the way we decided to go about it. If we lost to Spain because we went toe-to-toe with them, like, I think that's more respectful. And maybe it would have happened, right? It would have happened probably that way too. But, like, why did we just sit back? I just cannot wrap my head around. I cannot really give a good reason other than the fact that we were just scared. Like, the coach and the plan was just from a scared perspective. Like, I don't really blame the players. The players will always have passion, and sometimes that passion kind of went too far. But yes, Messi and Ronaldo, their time's done, and I think we just have to take a moment to appreciate the fact that we got to see them one last time. But that's it, right? Ronaldo's going to play in Saudi a little bit till he gets his 1,000 goals, and he'll probably be done. And Messi, I think after all that he did in this tournament, he deserves to just retire and be in peace and live up his life in Miami and just enjoy his time. He deserves it. He's really given a lot to this sport, and same with Ronaldo. So that's it, right? It's like, that's it. We just appreciate that we had this era. And unfortunately, it'll probably never be the same. There will never be players just as good as those two at the same time, fighting it toe-to-toe. So appreciate that, rather than focusing on the hate and all of the narratives. Like, let's appreciate that, yes, the time is done, but we really did get to see these guys one last time. And we got to see these guys score some goals and have some moments one last time. And that's really all you can ask for from that kind of just pure football fan perspective. So that's it, right? But yes, a couple of other things from that game that were pretty important. Just, again, managerial decisions, right? The substitutions, man. First of all, you start Nico Gonzalez. Then you bring on Paredes. Paredes, stupid foul, like 5 minutes into his time on the field. Like, he's a guy where it's like, did he know he was in a World Cup final? Like, he's the guy that I look at and it's like, did he know this? Right? Like, did he realize that he was getting subbed on into the World Cup final? I don't know. Because 5 minutes in, he pushes a guy to the floor, pushes Olmo to the floor. I think it was Danny Olmo. And he gets a yellow card for it, rightfully so. And everyone was complaining about how he should have been sent off. And I think he was lucky. I don't think it's because of corruption, obviously. I think that's just the narrative. I think he was lucky. I think a couple of the fouls were soft. But at the end of the day, he did do 3 other fouls after he got the yellow. So just kind of by the book, he should be sent off. Even if 1 or 2 of them were a little bit soft, to be honest. Like, one of them, definitely one of the 3 was definitely merited the yellow. But not because of corruption, just because of just being a little bit lucky. But someone who did get sent off for it was Enzo Fernandez. And you're never going to hear people complaining about Enzo Fernandez getting sent off, right? They're going to obviously just call corruption. And even if Argentina lost, I saw people being like, yes, finally the corruption has ended. Let's all laugh at Argentina and let's all laugh at Messi. But it's like, if it was really just pure corruption, they would have found a way to make it go into Argentina's favor. Obviously, right? But also you can just say that the tactics, the game plan was just that bad, right? And you can say then I think that's a fair argument, especially from an Argentine perspective, like just a terrible game plan. But you cannot disagree. Enzo Fernandez's first yellow card was never a yellow card. The second one obviously is a yellow card, a clear-cut yellow card challenge, of course, and just stupid decision from him in that moment, in that part of the game, to do that, and then he gets sent off, and then obviously that makes it way too hard for us, and then at that point we were never going to win. we were never going to even have a chance. But the first yellow card is the one I look at. It's like, this is never a yellow card ever. He just, like, literally, he just feels like he gets fouled, and then he just does the whole, like, bah, type of movement to the ref, and he gets a card for that. People do that all the time. Like, those, like, that's just that's a nothing motion in comparison to so many other moments in that game, and of course throughout the tournament and just throughout football in general. Like, you very rarely get a card for complaining at the ref. Like, you do it all the time, right? You're trying to advocate for your team, and you think it was a foul against you, and you're getting a card for that. Like, that was soft. That was really soft. That's the one really I'm, like, kind of a little bit pissed about. But no one's going to talk about that. Everyone's going to talk about how Paredes should have been sent off. Everyone's going to talk about the first Spain goal that got disallowed. I'll get into that in a second, but I just want to finish on the Enzo Fernandez thing. It's like, you're never going to see people talk about that first yellow card was never a yellow card in a million years. Second yellow card, obviously it was a yellow card. And then by that point, it was just him being stupid, and then he gets sent off. And then obviously from that point on, yes, we deserve to lose, right? But I think we deserve to lose regardless of the fact. Just look at the stats. Just look at the 25 shots, 11 on target for Spain, 12 on target, whatever it was. And we had at the end of the game, like, if the stats even say that we had 2 shots, it's a freaking miracle, given the fact that the Simeone chance was like our only shot the whole game, because it took us to concede for us to finally wake up. And my question is, why couldn't we just start the game like that? Why couldn't we just play the game from the beginning in that manner with that kind of attacking mindset? It was really strange the way that we were playing. And of course, the substitutions didn't help either. Being down a man, the stupid decision didn't help either. I actually think the ref was pretty fair. Called a lot of fouls against us, gave us a lot of yellow cards. Even if he didn't send off Paredes, I think he sent off Fernandez. And again, if it was truly corrupt, Fernandez would not have been sent off for that tackle. And if it was truly corrupt, they would have found a way to disallow the other goal too. So again, it is all narrative. It is all just like the internet. It is all just your sheep. People on the internet, they're sheep, and they're running towards the narrative. They have no real opinion on the situation. They don't actually use their eyes to look at the situation. That's kind of the way we live. That's the world we live in. But the truth is, the way the first goal works is that it's at the ref's discretion. Nico Williams, of course, Spain, he came on, he changed the game, right? And obviously Molina, I'm not even gonna talk about Molina. Well, I am going to talk about Molina, but first I'm going to talk about the substitutions. But before I talk about the substitutions, I'm going to talk about the first goal that got disallowed. Otamendi falls to the floor because I don't know who it is. It was Marino that was on him, and he did step on his foot. He fell to the floor. The ref sees him fall to the floor. He blows his whistle, calls a foul before the ball gets in the net. So what does that mean? It means that VAR cannot get involved. It means that is the ref's decision. It is at his discretion that he called the foul. He saw the contact, and he saw Otamendi fall to the floor, and Nico Williams put the ball in the net. So VAR can't get involved because the ref already made the decision in real time. So for whoever was maybe complaining about that, that's the reason why, and that's a real rule that's been a thing for the longest time. Like, I think it was a foul. It was a little bit soft. Like, it was a little bit on the softer side, but I think it was a foul on Otamendi, and the goal rightfully should have been disallowed. And it was never going to be reviewed by VAR because of the fact that the ref already blew his whistle. Then, of course, the second goal, Molina loses his man at the back post, and there was nothing in that. Obviously, the goal's a goal, but they would have found like a foul in the build-up or something like that. They would have found some excuse for sure if it was really, truly corrupt for Argentina. And I truly just think the ref did a good job. He was pretty neutral. He called a lot of fouls against us, and I think no one talks about that. Everyone's going to talk about the big decisions, but I think it was just a very well refereed game, and I think we always deserve to lose the game, and that's how it ended up. No matter what happened, I think there's no corruption. I think there was never any corruption. I think it is all just narrative from the beginning because people hate Messi, people hate Argentina. They just want to find a way to just call corruption, right? But that's not the case. It's not the case, and we lose. So of course, now people will find another reason to hate, but that's all right. At the end of the day, Messi can go and he can retire still knowing that he tried his best, that he did his all, even that the coach really disappointed us as a nation in this final. That's really the case. I think that's really the narrative. But yeah, let's talk about the substitutions, right? Let's talk about the substitutions a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't want to talk too much about it, but The substitution that changed the game, Spain, attacking subs. Varane, Nico Williams, they changed the game, right? Varane scored the goal. Nico Williams got the assist. Nico Williams had the goal before it got disallowed. He put the ball in the net another time. They made the difference in this game. And Marino actually probably should have had a goal. He had like a clear-cut chance that he missed that normally he wouldn't be missing. So attacking changes, like ambitious changes to actually try and win the game in real time, not trying to wait till pens. Again, full credit to Spain. Like I'm not criticizing Spain at all because their game plan was like the perfect game plan. De La Fuente's game plan was the perfect game plan. The players on the field did it in the way that they know how to do it. No criticism towards Spain at all. I have no hate towards Spain. They 100% deserve that win from start to finish. The problem was our game plan from the Argentinian side. Like, what were we doing, right? We won 2022 because Scaloni was a little bit ambitious with certain things that we were doing, right? We put Enzo Fernandez in despite him not really being a known quantity, right? That was his breakout tournament back then. You forget about it, right? Because it's been 4 years, but that was his breakout tournament. Like, why didn't Nico Paz get minutes in this tournament? Because Scaloni was scared. He was scared to make an ambitious move. But if Nico Paz had a better say in this tournament, I feel like we would have had a better chance because he's a great player. He's a great player. Why didn't Lautaro Martinez come on in the final? Instead, we were just bringing defenders on, and we took off all our attacking threat, really. Obviously, when we went down to 10 men, that was fine. But before that, what were we doing? You decide to make a change. You bring on Paredes for Gonzalez. I think Gonzalez should have been subbed off. But for Paredes, you brought on Simeone, who in the last game against England didn't really show that he was doing that much. But you brought him on. Okay, that's okay. The sub that I think really showed where the coach's mentality was, you take off Montiel and you bring on Molina. Terrible. Words can't describe how awful that sub was. Montiel was a rock at the back. He wasn't being beaten. He was doing super well. He wasn't giving a lot going forward, but nobody was. Nobody was. Like you cannot just put it to Montiel. And Molina's been terrible the whole tournament. Against England, he lost his man. He literally was just in the head in the clouds, ball watching. Like, as a fullback, you can never be losing your man there at the back post. You need to know where he is at all times. And he loses it. And lo and behold, for the goal, he loses his man at the back post again. And Nico Williams just gets a header into an area and Ferran scores. Terrible substitution. Terrible in all realms. And that tells you exactly where we were thinking, right? Why Nico Paz didn't get into the game. Why Valentin Barco didn't have any say in this tournament at all. Why Lautaro Martinez didn't get into the game at all in the final. I'm just baffled. I'm absolutely baffled by those decisions. And yes, it further proves that it was just the coach's fault, that it was just a bad tactical game plan because of those subs. If there was any sort of ambition, there would have been some better substitutions. Absolutely. So it was just terrible from start to finish. At the end of the day, fair play to Spain. They deserved to win from start to finish, and they absolutely were the best team in the whole tournament. And we definitely had a tough run to the final, and we made it hard on ourselves. But if we had just played the way we did it at the end of the game throughout the whole 90 minutes, we would have probably had a better chance at winning. I'm not saying we would have won because Spain are a good team, but we would have a way better chance at winning than the game plan we ended up doing. So it's honestly just a bit of a disgrace. It's a sour taste in the mouth of all Argentinians, of all fans, of all Messi supporters, really. But at the end of the day, he can still retire knowing that he did his best, and the team is going to have to find a way to truly move forward. But why you had again, the coach was scared. That's it. I'm not going to continue to talk about it because I've kind of gone through all of it. I appreciate that this team has really given us a lot of great moments, and we've been blessed with some many amazing moments in this tournament. Last gasp winners and comeback stories for the ages. But at the end of the day, literally, we were just trying to run it back. We were just trying to run it back, but we kind of saw it at times in this tournament that yes, everyone is just 4 years older, and at times you kind of saw how it was affecting us at times. So we finally faced a team that was able to put us away, and rightfully so. Fair play to Spain. But as for us, it's like you're never really going to do it just by purely running it back. You made some ambitious picks in the team, and then you didn't use them, right? Nico Paz, Valentin Barco, obviously. Those are the big ones. You made those ambitious picks, but you didn't actually use them. If you had used them, it's not guaranteed that it would have been different in this game or throughout the tournament, but perhaps it would have been. And you kind of just left thinking, well, why did you even bring him into the tournament? Like you could have picked another like kind of past it kind of older player that was there in the last tournament that won with us in the last tournament. You could have done that. You could have done that for sure. There's definitely one or two guys out there that you could have brought in. So that's really all I gotta say. I honestly don't have that much more to talk about. It was just bad game plan, bad tactics. I think the refereeing was good, and everyone that kind of calls corruption is just not right. It's just not true. Because again, if it was corruption, we would have won, right? They would have found a way to make it happen, and it would have just worked out, right? Everyone's very quick to say that it's rigged, but how about you just say that it's just football, right? How about that? It's that simple. We know Infantino is a corrupt president because obviously you have the 48 team tournament and all that stuff, right? But like at the end of the day, Argentina, they did their best. They gave us many great moments, and I appreciate that. I at least appreciate that much, and even if they did lose in the final, it was bad tactics, it was terrible, but I don't think you should be. You should be looking at one game and saying and kind of like hating, right? You should definitely realize, yes, the 2022 run was a generational run. It wasn't just because of penalties. I think if you really looked at the penalties, most of them were actual penalties, and that was the reason people were calling corruption back then. And then this World Cup, of course, they continue to call corruption. It's just narratives. It has nothing to do with it. When Messi retires and when Argentina play in 2030, it's probably like it's not going to be as heightened on the internet. But like if you really look empirically, logistically at refereeing decisions, it'll probably be the same type of thing. There were some games where there was just purely bad refereeing, and there were some games where it was actually really good refereeing. No one talks about the good refereeing, they just talk about the bad decisions. And I think in the final, it was a very well refereed final. I think he did a good job keeping it pretty even, pretty fair. And that's really kind of all I got to say. So it really was one of the most boring finals. Obviously, yes, 2022 was a great final. Best final we've ever seen, 2018. It was a little one-sided, but there were a lot of goals, a lot of entertainment. And even 2014, it was a cagey final, but it really was an even game. And that was a game that probably should have gone to penalties. But obviously, Germany got their goal, and that was it, right? But Argentina, I think Argentina had a worse team back then that they were working with. I think, in my opinion, they had a worse team. And this time around, I think they were just trying to run it back, and it didn't work out. I think if they had been a little bit more ambitious, if the coach had not been as scared with the game plan and with the players they used, the subs they made, maybe we would have had a better chance. But we're kind of left here thinking, what if? And the truth is, it didn't happen. And the truth is, that's how we're going to end, right? That's how the legacy is going to end. It's a little sour taste, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Messi can retire knowing that he was one of the greatest. So that's really it for the final. It was really a boring final, but yeah, I think I've kind of talked about absolutely everything that I want to talk about for the final. I'll just be here I can talk about this all day. Like, I can literally just rant and rant and rant. I can go on and on and on about all the problems and all the issues, but I'm not the coach. And I had a moment with like some random dudes that he probably put a parlay on Spain to win. So like he was like, yeah, man. Like he shook my hand and he was like, yeah. Like, and then the other guy, like he was going for Argentina. And then I literally like, it was like, yeah, man, like that sucked. And I was literally like, man, I don't have control of the tactics, man. I can't control it. If I had control of it, I would not have done anything that this guy Scaloni did in the game. Again, it was one game. He got scared, and that's why we lost the World Cup. And it seemed like we didn't even realize we were in the World Cup final for most of that game, by the way. So, but like I have no control over it. At the end of the day, it's all done. What's done is done, and that's how it's going to be cemented in history. So it's like Spain deserve it. They are they are they're good. They merit it, right? It's like that's it. That's really all I gotta say when it comes to it. The corruption, it's all narratives. It's always been narratives, and it's just like, we're just going to move on now, right? We now move on with our lives. The World Cup is now over, and we can now just finally stop with all of this stuff and just kind of go back to living our life, basically, is what we're doing, right? So, for the tournament, right, we're going to move on. We're going to shift a little bit. I've just kind of talked about everything relating to the final, given my takes. You can take it how you will. If you're angry, just cry. Like honestly, like just cry about it. I'm honestly sick and tired of all the narratives. But but let's talk about the actual tournament in general. Let's talk about how I would rate this tournament. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, man, this tournament was honestly like a 6 at best. Not because of my biased nature that all three of my teams got knocked out. Portugal were underwhelming. Canada did okay. They did about as good as they were going to do. And Argentina, obviously, they had that kind of disgraceful performance in the final. I don't think it's like that's like it's not because of my biases that I'm saying this. I think just overall the tournament, always the 48 teams was going to be ambitious. There were always going to be teams that were out of their depth, and we saw that. And obviously that gave the opportunity for the team like Cabo Verde to have a great story, and that's great. That's an amazing thing for the sport. But there were a lot of negatives with this World Cup for sure. I think on the pitch there were a lot of boring and dull games on the pitch. A lot of good moments for sure, especially as an Argentina fan. A lot of great moments, a lot of amazing things. But there weren't that many good goals. Like there were a few great moments: the Alvarez goal, the Lopes Cabral goal for Cabo Verde against Argentina, a couple of decent ones in the group stage. But for the most part, there weren't really any like spectacular goals. Like in my opinion, I think that Cabo Verde goal will win goal of the tournament. I think that's the one that should win. But there really weren't that many goals. Like in 2022 World Cup, where Charleston scored that bicycle kick, obviously that was amazing. 2018, like I think before I get ahead of myself, I think 2026 World Cup, how it would stack up to all the World Cups that I've seen in my lifetime, at least. Like I was too young to see South Africa, but 2014 World Cup, that was like really my first memory of football in general. It was my first World Cup, my first memory of football. And in 2014, it was a good World Cup. Obviously, I think everyone will agree it was iconic in many ways, and that World Cup, I think, at least in my lifetime, is still by far and away the best, and it'll take a lot for another World Cup to kind of even come close to that level. Like, I mean, unless you're Brazilian, obviously you probably don't agree with that, but right, that's really all I gotta say for that. 2018, I think, in my opinion, 2026 was better than 2018. That's just because it's my own personal opinion. I honestly did not really like the 2018 World Cup. I didn't actually follow it that much. It was a different period in my life. But in terms of like goals, 2018 probably had the best goals in my opinion. They had the best screamers in that tournament. But I think overall, also because Argentina had like a terrible World Cup, one of the worst ones that we had in my lifetime, like literally the worst one that we had in my lifetime, right? My lifetime, I've seen a World Cup where we made the final, then 2018 was the worst performance, then we won it, and then we made the final again. That's been my lifetime, right? If you're a little bit older than me, maybe you saw 2010 as well. Obviously, I didn't see 2010. Maybe you watching this, you also saw 2006. You'd have to be quite a little bit older if you're watching this, and you were able to see that one. But yes, like only being like 2-3 years older than me, you would probably remember 2010. But I don't remember 2010 because I was still too young. So in my lifetime, what I was able to watch, I think this World Cup was better than 2018. I think no World Cup was really better than 2014. This World Cup was better than 2018, just my personal opinion. Nothing to do with like I'm not trying to be controversial. It's just an opinion that I have, right? Like it's not right or wrong. But I think 2022 was absolutely better than this World Cup. Like I really, in my opinion, I love 2022. Again, not just because Argentina won. Obviously, that was a great thing. But I think just the refereeing was great in that tournament. The football that was played was entertaining just in general. It was pretty end to end. It was just like very entertaining and good quality stuff to watch. I think obviously the politicized nature of this World Cup and again the expansion of it made it worse. I think it did just make it worse just in general. And me personally, I love the Winter World Cup. I love the being in school and watching it in class and that whole thing, talking about it in class and just not paying attention to anything. I love that. I really enjoyed that portion of it. I actually like a lot of people didn't like the Winter World Cup, but I actually really did enjoy just it being around that time. I had fun. I had a fun time in that World Cup. Obviously, Argentina winning it was obviously pretty cool as well, but there were many great games, a lot of entertaining football, and a lot of amazing goals and amazing moments in that World Cup. I'd say, like, in my lifetime, 2022 is probably second. But I think 2026, it would stack up probably better as 2018. That's my opinion, right? My opinion is like 2018 was probably the worst World Cup I've seen in my lifetime. 2026, I didn't like it. I honestly didn't like it. I think there was a lot of boring matches, and again, the politicized nature of it all. Like you see, even in the final, like Trump has to be at the final. Like it's literally like his thing. Like it's his country. Like he has to be at the final. Like the World Cup's the biggest thing in sports, of course, right? Of course. So, but then he gets shown on screen and everyone boos him. It's like that's kind of the nature of this tournament. Kind of the politics gets mixed in with the actual football, and I think that made it worse as well. Even if I personally don't have like anywhere near as much hate for Trump as a lot of other people, like I still think like just the fact that it was interlinked together, it just gives a little sour taste in the mouth, and it's just not really as good. And that's kind of also kind of part of the reason for 2018 as well. 2022, it was like there was always narratives, but like I think just the fact that the football on the pitch in 2022 was so good, it made up for everything that kind of surrounded that tournament. But in this tournament, the football, honestly, like it wasn't so good. Again, there were moments, there were great times, and of course, like it was the World Cup. There were still, of course, many things to look at and appreciate, of course, and I really do appreciate a lot of the moments that we had in this tournament. But how it would stack up, obviously, it's the World Cup. There's always going to be moments like that, right? It's the magic of the cup for sure. But it's like how it would stack up. I think that's how I would say it. 2014 obviously is first. I think 2022 would be second for me. 2018 was the worst for me. So 2026 would be like third. But I still think 6 out of 10, like at best for me. So that's, again, my personal opinion. It's not right or wrong. It's just an opinion. So it's like if you're pissed off by it, that's a problem with you, right? Not a problem with me. I'm literally just giving my thoughts, and that's my personal take on the way the tournament's gone. I know a lot of people that enjoyed this World Cup, and it's like good. Like good for them. If you enjoyed it, that's great. I personally didn't. And if they managed to bring it to a 64 team tournament, oh man. Like I'm just thinking about how chaotic 2030 will be, right? They're going to play it in different continents. It's like the whole like 100 like whatever like 100-year anniversary or whatever it is, and it's going to be an absolute chaotic mess. It really is. And if they for some reason manage to expand it even more, in my opinion, I think the opinions of most people, you should bring it down again to 32 teams. You should go backwards, not try to move it to more teams. But yeah, it's I'm kind of worried, just literally like just off the bat. I'm a little bit worried as to what we're going to be witnessing in that World Cup. But that's 4 years from now. We will see what happens in 4 years from now. A lot will happen in 4 years from now. Of course, like I just think about what happened in between 2022 and 26. Like I think about what happened in my life personally as well. Like a lot has happened. So we'll see what happens in that tournament. But I think it's going to be an absolute disaster of a tournament in 2030. That's just my opinion. 2026 World Cup, it's kind of in the books. And kind of in the back of my mind, I am still thinking about the fact that I wanted to play at this tournament. Those were my ambitions. That was my thing that I wanted. And that maybe made it a little bit worse for me just from the get-go, because I wasn't going to be there and it wasn't going to happen for me. Even if for the longest time I really was trying to make it happen. But honestly, I'm kind of over that. Like, I'm not like trying to put those narratives in my own mind. Like, I honestly, like, that's the kind of thing that's like, it's done, it didn't work out. I trust in God because God has a bigger plan for me. It's like, it wasn't meant to be for me to play in this tournament. So, like, that's okay. But I'm not too bitter about that. But, like, yes, even, like, that is always kind of in the back of my mind. Especially when Canada played their first game in Toronto, which was obviously, that was my dream, right? But to actually be in that game. But it's like, it didn't happen. It's okay. And I'm not too cheesed about it. And at the end of the day, like, it was just not really a good, like, there was a lot about this World Cup that wasn't good. Like, I'm not going to say it wasn't a good World Cup because there are many amazing moments, of course, as there always is. But, of course, the final was a terrible final, as kind of I've already gone through in real specific detail. But the overall kind of part of the tournament, that's kind of how I would review it. I'm not going to make a separate episode talking about it. I'm just going to, like, that's pretty much my take. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's like, it was all right. But I think how it would compare to other World Cups, I like 2022 a lot better than this one. So, yeah, that's basically it. That's kind of all I got to say. I think I have touched upon absolutely everything I could possibly talk about for this World Cup. I think at the end of the day, Argentina never deserved to win it. And when you're trying to just run it back and you have no real creativity to the way you're setting up, it's never going to work. It's never going to work, and we saw that that's kind of how it goes. That's how the cookie crumbles. Spain deserved to win, and that's really all you got to say. So obviously you had the France and England game, and that was like ridiculous. If you had like obviously it was because it was a third place game, no one really cared about the results, so they just kind of went for it. If we had seen that type of just going for it in the final, we could have had a repeat of 2022. And that's what I was kind of ambitiously predicting would happen. But it could not have been farther away from that. So I'm just kind of disappointed. And as Argentinian, as Messi fans, you ought to be disappointed as well. And I think just as a football fan, you should be disappointed, regardless of narratives, like just about the entertainment value of that final. Because it was very bad. It was very bad. I think it just kind of adds to the fact that this tournament wasn't really the greatest. That's, again, my opinion, my take on it all. And I think 2030 is going to be a huge mess. So it's like, let this prediction be kind of set in stone. It's going to be a huge mess. There's a solid chance they'll increase it to 64 teams now, make it even worse. And even if they don't, it'll stay 48. They're never going to bring it down to 32. So it's still going to be like same type of thing. And of course, the whole, you're playing games in one continent, you have to fly over to the other continent. It's Portugal, Spain, Morocco. Even if it's in Portugal, which is also my country. And maybe I'll go and watch some games, perhaps, if ticket prices aren't so ludicrously through the roof like they were in this tournament. Then maybe there can be some good memories as well. But I'm calling it here that it is going to be an absolute catastrophe. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens in 4 years from now. But now that this World Cup is in the books, we can now move on with our lives. It's pretty simple, right? For me, I have to move on with my life, and I have to now go and pursue things that I need to pursue in my life. Right? I didn't make it to this World Cup. Will I ever have the chance of making it pro? I don't know. We're going to find that out. What I want from my life, I'm still trying to figure that out. So we can now shift our focus from something at the end of the day, it's just football, it's just a game, you're playing the game. You have to kind of have that in your mind. You don't want to let it be life or death, especially if you're just a fan watching the game. If you're in the match, that's one thing. But if you're just a fan watching the game, you don't want it to be like life or death. But unfortunately, you live in a world where that's the case, right? Football can unite, but it also is something that causes a lot of problems. And unfortunately, we've seen kind of both sides of it in this tournament. So that's really all I got to say for today. We're just going to move on with our lives. I'm going to be moving on with my life. It's like at the end of the day, what's happened. You can't really change it. So that's really it. I've spent my time ranting. I've had my rant. I've had my kind of thing. I tried my best to be as respectful as possible. I think I slipped out a couple of maybe negative, more hateful phrases. Again, my apologies. I try my best. But especially when you're talking about something that's so far out of your control, like the tactics that were played in that final, then it does grind my gears, because it's just like I can't control it. If I was in that position, I would have never ever played defensive in that game. And I think most people would agree as well. So yes, forgive me if I said something that pissed you off. If I was angry in some way, I try my best to not do that. But yes, when your team loses, that's kind of how it goes. But yes, now it's time for me to move on with my life, and it's time for all of us to move on with our lives, and let's go out there and make some good things happen. Let's go out and reach some good successes for ourselves, rather than just continuing to consume this stuff, right? That's all I got to say for today. That's really it. Wrapping it up, putting a bow on it. That is pretty much everything I could have possibly talked about for the World Cup Final 2026. But now the tournament's in the books, so now we move on. It's pretty simple. So thank you for watching this episode of the 365 Podcast. If you enjoyed it, I ask that you show your support in any way on the show as I do every day, by leaving a like, by subscribing on YouTube if you haven't done that yet, and following the show on Spotify if you haven't done that yet as well. I do appreciate you for being here. If you've made it this far, if you have been entertained by my ranting and by my kind of sorrows, I know there are a lot of people that are probably hate watching this video because they're just hate watching for the sake of the fact that I'm an Argentina fan, and I'm, the truth is I'm crying, right? It's like I'm literally just angry at the situation, not because of corruption, obviously, but because of just bad tactics, and that's really the thing I'm mad at the most. So that's really it. So obviously, if you're hate watching, that's on you. But if you're watching because you just enjoy it, you found it entertaining, I would appreciate some level of support. But even just you being here, I appreciate you for being here and making it this far into the video. Go watch some of the other great episodes I made on this channel so far. I've put the whole World Cup stuff into a playlist. So everything that I really talked about with regards to the World Cup, I put in a playlist, so you can go watch it and relive it if you want to watch some of those as well. Some of my predictions videos, some embarrassing predictions videos I made as well. You can go watch that. It's in that playlist. And any other video that you want to watch on the show, obviously I have so much good content out there, so I appreciate it if you do watch some of them and show your support in any way that you can. But that's really all I got to say for today. Thank you for watching this episode of the 365 podcast. Continue to glorify God every day throughout your life. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow for the next one.